Hello, everyone. I am Lynn, the Silver Goddess Tarot. Today, I am joined by Marlene from Minding Mental Health, and I'm so glad you're here. Marlene has agreed to allow me to read for her today, um, and I'm super excited to be able to do that. Marlene, did you want to say anything?
I just wanted to say how happy I am to be here and how thankful that to have this opportunity. I haven't had a reading in quite some time, and I'm really looking forward to it and hope your viewers can get something out of it as well.
Fantastic. I hope so as well. I hope so as well. All right. So, your guides have been with me, communicating with me since last evening, after right around dinner time for me. And the very first message that they gave me is that you've kind of been through it. Um, you have been feeling like you've been bruised and battered and thrown around and tossed and up and down and back and forth and around, but it just all feels a great deal like mental abuse. Um, Only the front of it is stress. So the mask of it feels very much like it's been masked. Those demands have been masked as this is what is demanded of you because that is part of the industry expectations. And I do want to say up front, Marlene and I did talk before starting this recording, and she confirmed that, but that's the message that I've been given. And I feel a little awkward saying that right now, and I'm going to cut that part out. Um, um, but it just, and I have to say from um, my own experience, I recognize that energy a lot, um,
I
a whole
definitely got
lot.
the chills when you were saying it. So I was like, okay, yeah, confirmation.
Yes, good, good. I'm glad you got that confirmation. Fantastic. Okay, so before I start Marlene's reading, I pulled the cards. I've done a Celtic cross for Marlene, and I will supplement with some other oracle cards. And then at the very end, Marlene has the opportunity to ask individual questions. So let's get into this. And I'm going to hold the cards up to the camera so that it's easy to see them. Our first card at the very center is the Knight of Wands. And this is somebody who has had a lot of success in their life across their career and has received accolades for that success. Others have noticed it, others have been jealous of it, and those who are jealous of it have tried to cut you down. And some of those people along the way who've been jealous of it have also recognized your contributions have made a real difference to the industry. But there's been one person who's been your nemesis. Oh, that person has been in your life for a long time, was in your life for a long time. And they were never clearly jealous of you, blatantly jealous of you, but they've done things to undermine you in subtle ways. You recognize who this person is. I think you know exactly who I'm talking about um, right now. And if you don't, we can clarify at the end. It feels like a
Unfortunately,
sibling.
there's more than one option.
Oh, yeah, right. Um, the Page of Pentacles. You have fought for your place at the table. You have succeeded to get a seat at the table. And invariably, something comes along and pulls the chair out from under you. And that has happened to you multiple times. And again, oh my gosh, it's interesting to me how much we talked about beforehand that is coming through this reading. You reimagine your path. You create, you go through that jungle with a giant knife. And I'm saying that with a terrible Austin romancing this down. That's not a knife. This is a knife. You go through your own personal jungle with the hatchet, clearing a new path and laying down new stones and creating a beautiful garden and giving your energy to making it the home that you want it to be. And there's a lot of lessons in each one of those because as you've had to do this repeatedly throughout your life, each time you've learned something new about having to redo that, the steps that it takes and how to get from start to finish and clearing that path for yourself and laying down those stones and creating that space that is specifically for you. But each time takes more from you. It's like there's, the first time you were so young and full of energy and so excited to be on this path. And then the next time it was like frustration and okay, I can do this. That's fine. I'll do it. Not a big deal. I'll get there. And then the next time it's like, all right, really? Really? Are you serious? I have to do this again. And now it's just like, you bitches. Sorry. Um,
I'm psychoanalytically trained. Don't worry about the language. You don't know what words we throw around.
so, and yet each time you cut through the jungle, lay down the new path, create your home, each time it's a more beautiful home. It is more suitable to who you are. It meets the needs of who you are in that moment and in that time. And so when that chair is pulled out from under you, when your seat at the table is taken away from you, as much as it is a struggle to recreate and build new again, it is a more perfect environment for you. And that is an incredible blessing. Okay, what you have to draw upon is the Four of Wands reversed. These are people who are not sincere about you, your sense of self, your beauty, your authenticity, your presence in this body and in this world. And the people closest to you know how to cut you to the quick, the fastest. Energy passing away is the Six of Wands, upright. And this card is one of great success. This is the card that says you have been recognized for all of your professional and personal contributions. And while it is passing away, this is very organizational driven. Your accolades and your recognition for contribution will come to you in a whole new way. It will be more personal. It will be more authentic. And you will value that feedback in a completely different way. It will be more meaningful to you. You will know that you have touched people's lives in a way that you were never able to recognize in the past. What you reach for is the Nine of Pentacles.
So it looks like you have a version of the Rider Waite.
Yes. Yeah. And it has, like, when I first got this deck, I had, so I started reading tarot when I was 18, and I had a completely different deck. It was a witch's tarot deck, and excuse me, the card meanings were completely different. The cards were the same, like, there's the Five of Swords and all of that. It was all the same in terms of the different suits and the different numbers, but the readings that I got off of that card, off of that deck, were completely different than I get off of a Rider Waite, and completely different again than I get off of other decks that I have that are, the generic suited decks like this. So, it really, for me, it depends on the deck and the meaning that comes through. But because this is a Rider Waite, and because I had not been accustomed to reading with this deck, I got the one that had the meanings, the card meanings on it, and now I don't even look at it.
Right.
It's like, okay, I'm listening to spirit, and I'm seeing the movie over here, of what's coming through, of that information from spirit. And literally it is like I'm literally watching a movie of how things play out, and I'm hearing it, but I'm also an incredible empath, and I'm feeling it as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, complete sense.
Oh, good. Thank you for, affirming my. Thank you. All right, just going to keep moving right along. So, the Nine of Pentacles, and what I love about this picture, the picture on this card, is that this is a woman in her glory. This is a woman who is so incredibly successful. She has the riches around her. She is loved by the universe and everything in it, all of the animals, all the greenery, the trees, the spirit that lives in nature is with her as a very strong component of her life. And this is who you aim to be. And I firmly believe that this is actually who you are now, not who you're aiming to be. I think this is where you are landing right now. Um, One thing coming to bear is kind of a warning, and that is, be careful who you trust. This is the Knight of Swords reversed. Be careful who you trust, because not everybody is as honest and ethical as you would hope them to be. Okay, so this card is the Knight of Swords reversed, and you need to be very careful who you trust. People will present themselves as one face when in reality there is an entirely different personality driving everything that they do behind that face. I feel like this is a single individual, but there will be other individuals similar, not to the same degree, but with the same hidden agenda, not to the same degree, not to the same level of danger either. Okay, I'm going to keep moving. Internally, yourself is the moon. Um, you're a dreamer, and yet you're very grounded. You experience your emotions to the fullest. When you're happy, you're super happy. When you're mad, you're just mad. For the most part, you live in the here and now. Like I said, very grounded, very aware of reality. But you also have a nose for BS. You see that a mile away. Mhm. The animals in your life, I don't know if these are in your life as pets in your home or if these the are nature animals that you encounter regularly, like deer and birds, specific types of birds, squirrels. Oh my gosh, that one made me laugh. I don't know why. Um, Yet I do feel like squirrels is a big, I feel like squirrels is one of your like totem animals, maybe. They're very industrious. Are you visited by crows and blackbirds?
I have some, and yeah, there are some definitely in the yard. I'm kind of smiling because I had a little moment with a squirrel today who was on my pergola, and he caught me in my kitchen window, and I was like, "Hey, what's up?" He just like stood there staring at me, and but I love them all when they come over, like when the squirrels are running around, the bunnies and everything. So I love that my backyard's a bit of a cornucopia, but I do have animals in the house as well.
Okay. Um, those animals are an incredible enrichment to your life, obviously. Um, for the crows, if you leave them something shiny, if they're true crows, leave them something shiny, like um, a piece of aluminum foil, or it can be trash, or it can be like, you know how if you're craft stores will have different gems and baubles and that type of thing, and like some of them have shiny little things that you can attach to their trinkets that attach to like jewelry making stuff. um Not super small ones that they can swallow, but actually let me pause for just a second and I'll show you what I mean. So not super tiny things, but something mm, might be easier if I do it over here. Something like that. Can you see that?
Yeah, I
It's just
can. That's cool.
like a little piece that you add on to a jewelry or like the key, something like that. Something about the size of that and go. That gives you an idea of how big that is. It's big enough that they're not going to swallow it, but crows love shiny gifts. And if you give them a gift like that, they will bring you gifts in return.
Hmm.
And mind you, that gift in return could be something like a dead animal that they drop in your bird bath, um, which may not look like a gift to you, but it is a gift from them to you. And the interesting thing about crows is that if one crow, if so, let's say that a person harms a crow, the rest of the crows in that flock know, and they never forgive that person. They will haunt that person almost literally. And it goes down generationally.
Hmm.
It is, crows are fascinating, fascinating birds. I love them. So that is the moon. Um, you have a lot of spirit animals with you, and they provide a lot of joy in your life. A lot of joy in your life. Externally is the Ten of Pentacles. Here again is outwardly you look very successful. Inwardly you have some insecurities and fears, but then, isn't that true of everybody? Like we all do. But you have the skills and the experience and the connections that, yes, you are a very successful at what you do. Your hopes and fears of the future is the Wheel of Fortune reversed. And it just means like chair at the table got pulled again, and you have to start over again. And what is it going to look like this time? And that is a very reasonable fear, a very reasonable fear. And I'm hearing that you may not have the financial security that you have had in the past, but that's okay. You're still going to have everything that you need. What you're really going to love, though, is the autonomy to set your own hours, the autonomy to decide who your clientele will be, the autonomy to build what you want as opposed to what somebody else is telling you you have to create. So while you are afraid of having to start over, there's a lot of hope. There's a lot of hope and a lot of beauty in what you recreate that, once you cut down those branches in the jungle and you lay out your path again, that new home for you is probably going to be the most satisfying along your trajectory of life. And I really do feel like this is your last. I feel like this is the last time you're going to have to recreate yourself professionally. Your next recreation is going to be when you retire, and you're just going to have to figure out who am I now without having that persona, the professional persona. And I really get that because a lot of who we are is wrapped up in what we do. Um, I have a great deal of experience with that myself. Um, but you will find a new way to channel. You will find a new way to channel your gifts and your abilities. It almost feels, oh wow, that's interesting. Um, you will be able to use your gifts and abilities through volunteer opportunities. Feels like prison um, residents, people in jail, people in prison, that you will have the opportunity to work with them in a way that helps them prepare for reintegration in society. And that could mean building coping skills for the trauma that they've never had the opportunity to manage, that they never, culturally or parentally or societally, they were never taught how to cope with the trauma that they experienced. And so, because of that, their behaviors led them to be locked up. And your work as a volunteer with them allows them to become citizens who are part of a society where they are a, a beautiful contributing element. Over the next 3 months, the outcome here is the Hierophant reversed. And huh, this is the crumbling of all the institutions. This is the implosion. This is the implosion that we were talking about before we came on.
Yes, it is.
Wow. Do you think that I was doing the reading before we ever started? Because I
Yes, you.
didn't I didn't look at these cards closely. I did not. I just laid them out and just kind of like let them sit. I didn't really look at them, just, laid them out. And well, look, there we are. Implosion of institutions. So that's happening over the next 3 months. And I don't really have anything else to add to that. Oh, wait. Yep, I do. Careful who you trust. Somebody's going to tell you that they want to, they want to work with you professionally, and you should not. So, collaborations on your channel, fine, you're safe there. But if somebody says, I want to go into business with you, doing the kind of work, seeing the kind of clientele that you see, I highly recommend you say no. Obviously, it's up to you. If you say yes, there's a life lesson in there that's going to be hard. All right. I have a bunch of different Trish James decks, and I thought I would pull from personal predictions, but I also like I want you to choose. I have the predictions deck. I have the personal predictions. I have her signature oracle. I have the Stardust. And this is one side is tarot, the other side is oracle. And I have the connections oracle. This oracle deck, does a lot of connection with spirit energy. So if somebody has passed away that people want to connect with, this is a great deck to do that. Do you have a preference of which deck I use to pull oracle cards for you?
I like the one that's I guess it's
Turquoise, pink,
predictions,
the
which
the
the personal predictions looks really
personal
cute.
predictions. Okay. That was the original deck I had chosen for you. Okay. The first card here is reach out, help needed. The next one is brain fog, confusion. Next is the fast way. Then time to reflect. And finally, making progress. Most of this feels professional, like the reach out, help needed. Nope, that one goes with this one. Um, the time to reflect, the fast way, and making progress. These all feel very, wow, that's very interesting. These three feel professionally aligned. You've had enough time now in terms of time to reflect, knowing what's happening, what the changes are of that seat at the table that was the chair at the table that was pulled out from under you, of how you want to change your life. You could have gone a couple of different ways and opted opted not necessarily to take the easy way or the fast way. You opted to take your way. And I have to say, I truly admire that.
So
Right.
interestingly, I did like a big astrological chart with at the outer planets on the ephemera and how it was going to go with this business shift. And the warning about who to trust was also in that reading, having to do with the ephemera. So it's interesting that this is not only being said in one place, it's being said multiple places. So it's getting a little more weight, hearing it again, and just knowing that I have to be careful about that.
So I'm using the Revealing the Truth Oracle, and this is a deck that I pulled off I had it in the display behind me right here before, and I pulled it from that display to use today. I didn't pull anything else from back there. I just pulled this one. So, woohoo! Again, getting it right. Yay! I like those. I like those. Yep, you did a good job, Lynn. So here again, you have the snake, somebody who's going to lie, somebody who could be poisonous to you. The last item here is fertility, and interesting enough, that connects to these two menopause cards here. Um, but I'm not that one didn't feel like it had a lot of weight. It was the first two items, the lie and the poison. And then the other one is electronicization. Yeah. I don't know how to say that word. Um, it says at the bottom data backup and digital, but when you look at it, that is an angel. And that angel, the sense that I get from that angel is so profound. Do you get spirit message through electronics? Like, do you have things that turn on and that turn off, and you're like, why did that happen?
Doesn't happen often, but it definitely has happened, and weird things that won't work for some reason, and then all of a sudden they do.
That's your spirit. That's your angels talking to you. That angel this angel shown on this, I got chills looking at that angel image.
So you had said something at the beginning about how you've been talking to my guides, and I wondered whether, and I don't know if this is outside the realm of tarot, but the one thing that I could do to improve that communication with my guides, because I know I've been working on it and I'm not sure how well I'm doing. Let's put it that way.
You're doing really well. Your guides hear you just fine. Your guides hear you just fine. And I always hear from everybody, meditate. You got to meditate. You got to meditate. I don't meditate. I don't meditate. Like I will do that, that just that breathe, that deep breath in and that full relaxation. And it's very much in the moment. But to actually sit down and meditate for 15, 20, 30 minutes, can't do it. I can't sit still that long.
No, I
It
tell
just,
people like start with 2, and it will be the longest 2 minutes of your day.
that's so true. But for me, it's just in the moment. I just, I pull. You know what? Here's a really good method, and that is follow your breath in, feel it go into the back of your throat, and then down your lungs, and expand your lungs, and then imagine that breath going through your entire body and the oxygen going into your cell. And when it gets there, it rotates and carbon dioxide comes out and comes back to your lungs, and you breathe that out. So you just follow a breath in and the blood going to your entire body and the breath out. And it's like you're in your brain. Most of us, our brain is just, it's all out here thinking about all the things, our to-do list, all the things happening in the world around us, and as soon as you focus on one thing, focus on the breathing, and then put your hands on a solid surface, on the table in front of you, on the couch beside you, whatever it is, just put your hands flat and feel that solid surface against your skin. And then you recognize the texture and the temperature, how solid or soft it is. I currently have my hands on my kitchen table, and this table was a gift from a very dear friend of mine. It is a walnut table. And oh, wow. What I'm feeling is all of the beauty of that friendship and how happy that table is to be in my home with me. Wow, I didn't expect to get emotional about that. Oh, goodness, but I sure did. Um, it's the quieting of the brain that lets your spirit come in. A lot of people will get in the shower and that's the one time that they're not on an electronic device, that their spirit goes, okay, here you go. You're quiet, you're in the shower, you're mine. I can communicate with you. Asleep, I cannot begin to tell you, over the years I always joked I did my best thinking at 2 a.m. And my best thinking was my spirit guides coming to me in my dreams, giving me the fix for whatever problem I was experiencing. And usually it was trying to figure out how to get something done at work. And it was a really difficult project. And I couldn't go from A to L in order. Only what they came in and did was they got me to Z but the step really felt like going from A to B instead of having to go through all of those really hard, it was like uh, almost like time travel. You got to from one place to another place, and you didn't have to take the slow train. You didn't have to stop at the stoplights. You didn't have to go back and get rerouted from a detour. You just got to your destination, and it literally was that fast. Anyway, so like the my guide spoke to me very often in my dreams, and that is very common because it is the one place where you do not have a bunch of other distractions. So, and the way you can capture that is to put a pen and paper beside your bed, and if you wake up in the middle of the night, write down your dreams. And if you as soon as you wake up in the morning, and I mean, don't sit up in bed, roll over, grab the pen and paper. As soon as you're awake, start writing and just let your pen go. You don't even have to think about it, just start writing. And a, a lot of people will talk about picking up a pen and paper during the day and just automatic writing, and just, their brain can be doing whatever it wants to do, but their hand is writing. And that will also pick up spirit energy, spirit messages. So, okay, let me see. I grabbed the Trish James connection oracle. Let's see if they've got anything they want to convey this way. I just heard squirrel. Oh my gosh. That's all they want me to give you. Okay. Perseverance, keep trying.
Joints and skeletal.
Do you have any connection to goats?
Um, no, not directly. I mean, my Chinese sign is a sheep, actually.
At the very top of it, I don't know. It says Capricorn, December, January.
Yeah.
Do you have any connection to Capricorn?
There's only, I think, one in my life at the
Okay.
moment.
For me, what really stands out here is the perseverance, keep trying. Just, your spirits want you to keep working at it. I'm asking if there's anything in particular that I mentioned that would work best for you. And they're like, no, Annie, just try. Pick one, pick all of them, figure out, just keep trying. And the things that for certain, all the things that I have suggested, it is not an exhaustive list, right? It is not exhaustive. So there are plenty of other exercises you can do to help you connect with spirit that I didn't talk about, don't know about. So if one doesn't work for you, try something different. And sometimes you have to try the one multiple times until it does finally work. Really? Do you see things in food,
Do I see things in food?
like faces?
Not generally. I'm usually focused on eating it, to be honest.
Do you, no, they're pretty insistent that it's food.
Hmm. Seeing like images in food or other things?
I'm hearing faces.
Hmm.
I don't know why that matters. They're not telling me that part. I just heard faces. I heard images and food and then faces.
I'll pay more attention to my plates in the future.
Oh, 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 got it. Okay. Um, they're going to, that's how they're going to tell you that, hey, we're here.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So you're going to start seeing faces in a variety of different places where where you wouldn't normally see a face. So, if you've got a bowl of fruit on the counter, it could be in the skin of a fruit, it could be the way the fruit is organized, it could be a meal on a plate, it could be on a walk in the side of a tree. You are going to start seeing faces in places you normally would not, and it will be very clearly recognizable to you that it is a face, and recognizable to other people that it is a face. Um, I'm also getting the image. There's a guy on Instagram. I don't have a clue what his name is. I'm sorry, but he uses a communicator box and he scrubs gravestones, and he has the communication box with him, and it'll talk. He'll hear these weird noises, and then it'll be a word, and then it'll be another weird noise, a squawk, a whatever, and then it'll be more words, and it is really fascinating. But I feel like if you have one of those speaking boxes, I don't even know what they're called, you're going to start getting even more messages, and to the point where you can be like, all right, I just got to shut you off because you're overwhelming me now. um, so um, yeah, I feel like that is between those two, the faces and that box, if you choose to do the box. um but there's other options for hearing from spirit. They have like the little I don't know if you've ever watched the ghost hunters or the paranormal shows that hunt ghosts, where it's like, are you here, and it lights up, it's
Oh
just
yeah,
a
I've
light.
actually been
Yeah,
on because this is a colonial America. The
yeah.
guns of Ticonderoga came through the Berkshire Mountains. This is a very ghostly place, and I've been to like Ventford Hall, and there's some places that um, the Edith Wharton Mansion known to be haunted. So I've gone to a lot of the, and they've had all the tools, and it's been those have been really interesting experiences.
Awesome, awesome. So I think you would have better communication with your spirits by the talking box, the ones that have actual words that come through, as opposed to, are you here? Yes or no? Because
Hmm.
yes and no, for me, I don't know about you, but I have used a pendulum many times, and not great results from it. And that is very normal for people. Like, you will have incredible results using one divination tool and none using a different. And my results with pendulum is so sporadic that I don't trust it. I cannot say I do not ever feel secure in the answer that I get from a pendulum. And that could just be, all the pendulums that I've had, I've purchased them as a pre-built pendulum. And I know, I said that a while back, and somebody said that Libby created her own. She bought her own stone, she wrapped it, and she put the chain on it herself. And so she created her own pendulum. And so her pendulum is very unique to her, and very receptive and bonded with her. And I have not done that. And so that could be part of why I don't have the pendulum success. but I've also used a necklace that is very important to me, won't work as a pendulum for me. So, and this is something I created. So, my sense of pendulum work, my let me try that again. My work with pendulums has not been my strong suit, and that's okay. We don't all have strengths everywhere. If we did, we'd be overloaded, right? You lean in on the areas that you have strengths and you let the rest go because somebody else is doing a great job of it.
Right.
Magical Mimi, my God, her pendulum work is amazing. She does incredible pendulum work and she's on YouTube and TikTok. Pendulum work is just incredible. I have never seen anybody as gifted in
Hmm.
pendulum work as she is. And then, so spirituality with Sam, she does a lot of automatic writing. So those are some really interesting channels for me as well, beyond the really big ones. I watch these different channels because there's something that I get from all of them, not necessarily in terms of the content that they're covering, but this is going to sound really weird. I feel like I'm developing my psychic skills simply by watching somebody else being psychic.
I don't think that's odd at all. I mean, we
Oh,
do it.
good. Phew.
No, it's
So
almost
glad.
like osmosis, but it's also like it helps you center. It helps you start to recognize, like, oh, this person's doing this. And, maybe I can sit this way, or it helps us to kind of um, almost like tune in like a radio, like it helps to kind of get rid of some of the static on the end so that you're more attuned. So I think it's super helpful.
And to kind of piggyback on that, for me, what it is that, oh, that right there, that means that what I'm experiencing is actually psychic phenomena, not just some crap in Lynn's head. You know?
Well, that is the big problem, right? Everyone who does this, who has experienced certain things, was that just me? And we do it with our memory, even just memories. Was that a real memory? Did I make that up? And that's so many of them are female because that's what has been done to us socially for so many years that what our experience was not always seen as genuine. And hysteria is a great example of that.
Yes.
Really, those it was a fantasy. Was it a fantasy? So it's something to really think about, and we have
And
to be more sure of what we're thinking and our being, and be and not be afraid to say it.
the video that I watched, they talked about coming here as a star seed and being part of a life where you've been told that what is happening is not true. You've been gaslit. It's a lifetime of gaslighting from people who don't know that what skills and abilities you have are real and true. And my mom had some psychic ability, but she had tamped hers down and didn't believe them. And yet she would say something and it was a vision and it came true. And in the moment that it came true, she knew, oh, I said that. Oh. And so that gaslighting by all the people who don't understand or who don't recognize or who have tamped their own skills and ability down, it undermines our own sense of security that what we are experiencing is real. And I have definitely and so that's when we diminish ourselves. That's when we shrink ourselves to fit into society because if we don't, we're the weirdos, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could, and a great example of this is I went to school with somebody who had photographic memory. And at the time, he was the only person I knew who had photographic memory. Now I know several people who have photographic memory or near photographic memory. And it's, oh my God, it is amazing. It is amazing. But he was so awkward. And in high school, that is the he was so far beyond our intelligence level and social skills and just it, but he had such a hard life at that point in time because that was not gifted and talented was available, and I would bet that he was in that program. Hmm.
Well, as an interesting aside, so I could read when I was 3, and I remember the moment I was like, "Oh, I'm reading." And so I know I didn't learn how to read. I remembered how to read. It wasn't learning. But when I was like in kindergarten or first grade and I was on the playground, some kid came up to me and was like, "I hear you can read." And I was like, "Yes, I can." And they were like, "I ought to punch you in the face." And I'm like, "Because I can read?" Like, you couldn't be a smart kid. You couldn't show off your skills or the things that you could do well because people were not going to like you for it. And that's such a shame that's had to be. And I know we don't want that to be the world we live in anymore.
Especially as a women, as females, we were not allowed to be smart. And
Yeah.
I'm going to say something, and I'm not saying it to be arrogant. It's not a humble brag. It's just a reality in my life. I am incredibly intelligent, and a lot of people are incredibly intimidated by my intelligence because I can see all the dots, all the stars in the sky. Look at that, all the stars. I see how they connect. I can see the connection between that star and that star and that point and that point and that point. And then I can bring it all together into this little cell and go, all right, this is what's going to happen. And a lot of people find that incredibly intimidating.
Well, as we talked about earlier, this idea if you're direct, if you just say it how it is, like that is intimidating. So it's a little
Really
weird.
is. Yeah.
So that said, the last thing I would say is when you look at all of these cards in totality, like what do you see as like the clear message that comes through, the thing that brings it all together?
And in summary message, um, so you're, as we talked about before the recording started, you're in a moment of transition in life, and you're grateful for all the recognition and all the accolades and all the experience that you've had in the past. You're building a new home for yourself, one in which you will be very happy, and autonomy means everything to you. Watch out for the naysayers and watch out for the people who undermine you and watch out for the at least one client who's really dangerous.
So if I get that feeling that like, oh, you know,
You'll know.
not good. Yeah.
You'll know.
Okay.
Um, Picking up this internal the moon again at the very top of the column, the moon. You are a bullshit meter. You know when people are lying to you and pulling your leg and hiding crap that is really important. You know that is just that is one of your strongest gifts in life. You know. This is here. Um, over the next 3 months, the system is crumbling. Implosion, is the word that I used before we started the recording. I'm sticking with that one. And you've got the time to reflect and decide which path you want to go on. You've had the time. You've made your decision already. I don't even have to look at that again. You've already made your decision. You know which way you're going. You're taking a path that gives you the autonomy that you want. Here with these two cards, the revealing the truth. Again, there's that warning of a snake. somebody who's very dangerous to you, and your angels visit you in a variety of ways, but particularly through electronics. And persevere in terms of connection. Keep trying, keep doing, keep going. You're getting it. You're doing it fine. You may not recognize it as such. And that's really the yep,
Yep,
that's it,
that's
Lynn.
the thing.
Yep, that's it, Lynn. You don't recognize how they communicate with you. And that's okay. That's okay. You're going to have the time to put more energy to that now because you have the autonomy over your schedule that you have not had over the span of your life because of your career, because of the fact that you have worked, like everybody in a very demanding uh, in a country that demands everything from employees, right? So, okay.
Well, thank you so much. This really was wonderful and
Awesome.
so on target in so many ways.
Thank you. Thank you. If you are looking for more insights into your own situation, I have openings on my calendar for personal readings. The link to my website is in the description box below or as the first pinned comment. Please take a look, and I hope you'll book an appointment with me soon. Thank you.